What is a prompt? A prompt is a piece of text or a question you give to a language model to guide it in generating a response. It acts as an instruction that sets the context, tone, and purpose of the model's output. Well-crafted prompts can make a big difference in getting relevant, accurate, and useful responses. Prompts can range from single words to detailed instructions depending on the task at hand. What are some common practices to follow while writing a prompt? Effective prompts are clear, specific, and direct, helping the model understand exactly what you want. It's helpful to include details about the style, tone, or length of response if these matter for your task. Avoid ambiguous language and consider giving examples if the structure is complex. Keeping the prompt focused will generally yield better and more relevant answers. Does an LM output the same result for the same prompt each time? Why or why not? An LM may not always output the exact same response even if given the same prompt, because it often includes some randomness in how it generates text. This variability can be controlled by settings like temperature, which influence how creative or repetitive the response will be. Low temperature settings make the output more deterministic, while higher settings increase variety and creativity. What is meta prompting? Meta prompting involves asking the model to reflect on how it creates responses or guiding it to generate better prompts for itself. For example, you might ask the model to consider how to approach this question before answering. This technique can be useful for complex or open-ended tasks as it encourages the model to think more deeply about structuring the response. What is role playing in prompt engineering? In role-playing prompts, you assign the model a specific persona or role and faces that can, like you're a teacher explaining to a beginner, or imagine you're a customer service agent. This approach helps the model adopt a specific style, tone, or expertise, can making its answers more aligned with what you expect from someone in that role. Role-playing can be especially useful in applications like customer support, education, or storytelling. What is a chain of thought prompt? Spaces that can. Chain of thought prompting encourages the model to think through a problem step by step before arriving at a conclusion. By asking it to break down its answer logically, you guide the model to work through each part of the problem rather than jumping directly to an answer. This approach is particularly useful for tasks that involve reasoning, complex problem solving, or calculation. What is the trees of thoughts technique? Traces that cans of thoughts is a method where the model explores multiple possible solutions or ideas before selecting the best one. Instead of going down one path, it branches out to consider alternatives, spaces that can, almost like brainstorming. This techniques the model arrive at a more thoughtful, well-rounded answer by varying different options or approaches. What is React prompting? React prompting combines reasoning and action steps, encouraging the model to reason through a problem while taking actionable steps. That can, you might ask it to think aloud and then make decisions or answer based on its reasoning. This approach is helpful in scenarios where both thought and action are needed, like planning tasks or interactive storytelling. What is prompt tuning and how does it differ from prompt engineering? Prompt tuning involves adjusting the model's responses by training it specifically on certain types of prompts, allowing for fine tuning without changing the core model. Prompt engineering, on the other hand, Hugging Face spaces that can focuses on crafting effective prompts manually without altering the model, while prompt engineering works outside the model. Faces that can. Prompt tuning involves slight adjustments to the model's behavior for more consistent output. What are zero shot, one shot, and few shot prompts? These refer to how much context or examples are given to the model in a prompt. Zero short prompts provide no examples, expecting the model to answer based on general training. One shot includes a single example, while few short provides multiple examples to guide the model. Few short prompting is especially useful for helping the model understand nuanced or specific response styles. What are the main goals of prompt engineering? Prompt engineering aims to maximize the relevance, clarity, and accuracy of the model's responses. It's about shaping prompts to minimize errors, avoid biases, and produce responses aligned with the desired style, tone, or task. A well engineered prompt leads to more reliable answers and reduces the need for extensive follow up questions. What is self critique prompting and how can it improve outputs? Self-critique prompting is when you ask the model to review its response and look for potential errors or improvements. For example, after an answer, you might prompt it with, is there anything you would change or clarify? This process helps the model refine its response, often making it more accurate, balanced, or insightful. How does temperature affect prompt responses? Temperature is a setting that controls in the model's responses. A low temperature G 0.2 leads to more focused and predictable responses, while a high temperature GG 0.80 allows for greater creativity and variation. Lower temperatures are useful for factual answers, while high temperatures work well in creative or open-ended tasks. And how do you use prompts to make LM more factual and less prone to hallucination? To make responses more factual, provide specific instructions for the model to verify details or stick closely to known facts. You can include phrases like only answer with known information or request sources to ensure it focuses on factual content. Using shorter, direct prompts that reduce ambiguity also helps avoid made up information. How does one create prompts to make LM follow step by step instructions? When creating prompts for step-by-step instructions, it's effective to use numbered or labeled steps. Example, step 1, step 2 to guide the model, directed to provide each step individually, spaces that can specifying that it should not skip ahead. Clear sequential language helps the model follow your instructions logically and stay organized. What is reflection prompting and how does it work? Reflection prompting asks the model to summarize or reflect on its answer to check for accuracy or completeness. This encourages the model to self-evaluate and possibly revise its response, which can make the final output clear and more reliable, especially for complex or in-depth answers. How does context's length in a prompt impact an LM performance? Providing more context helps the model generate answers that are relevant and complete, but too much can cause it to lose focus or exceed its capacity. Striking a balance is key. Plugging phase spaces can give enough context to inform the response without overwhelming the model or diluting the prompt's main focus. How can prompting be used to direct an LLM tone or style? You can specify a tone or style within your prompt by adding instructions like respond in a formal tone or explain in simple, everyday language. By clearly describing the desired tone, you help the model tailor its answer to fit specific contexts such as casual, professional, or friendly conversations. What are some of the best practices for testing and validating prompt effectiveness? To test prompt effectiveness, try using multiple prompt variations and evaluate if responses are consistent, accurate, and relevant. Look for any unexpected biases or errors and adjust the prompt to reduce these spaces that can. Repeating tests in different contexts can confirm that your prompt works well across various situations or tasks. Can you have an article with about 1 million words to summarize? For such a large text, break the article into sections and ask the model to summarize each part separately. After gathering summaries for all sections, combine these to create a concise overall summary. This hierarchical approach allows the model to handle large text in manageable chunks without losing key information.